How much does your dog understand about you that you never taught it and never meant for it to see? We spend so much of our time teaching our dogs. Sit, stay, come. The little tricks, the house rules, the words we drill in with treats and patience. And we walk around quietly, believing that what our dog knows is more or less what we put there ourselves. But that is not remotely the whole picture, because underneath all of the training, your dog arrived already knowing how to read something far more important than any command you could ever teach. It came preloaded by tens of thousands of years of evolution lived at our side, with the ability to understand you. Not the tricks, you, your intentions, your fairness, your kindness, or the lack of it. The kind of person you actually are, when you believe no one is keeping score. And here is the unsettling part. Something has been keeping score. It has been reading you, quietly and carefully, from the very first day it met you, and no one ever had to teach it how. Let's start with something your dog does that feels almost impossibly perceptive. It reads your intentions. It does not just watch what you do. It seems to grasp what you meant to do. In careful experiments, researchers had a person offer a dog food and then withhold it, but in two very different ways. Sometimes the person clearly could not give the food, fumbling with it, dropping it, genuinely trying and failing. And sometimes the person simply would not give it, teasing, pulling it away on purpose. And the dogs responded completely differently to the two. They stayed patient and hopeful with the person who was trying and failing, and grew frustrated with the one who was deliberately withholding. Which means your dog is not simply reacting to outcomes, to whether the food arrives or not. It is reading the intention behind your actions, judging whether you meant well or not. Nobody sat down and taught it the difference between an accident and an insult. It came into the world already able to tell. Now it gets sharper, because your dog also has a sense of fairness, and this one has been tested directly. Researchers took two dogs, side by side, and asked each of them to perform a simple trick, like giving a paw. At first, both dogs did it happily, for no reward at all, just to please. But then the experimenters started rewarding one dog for the trick, and giving the other dog nothing for doing the exact same thing. And the unrewarded dog noticed. It watched its neighbor get treated while it got nothing, and it began to refuse. It stopped offering its paw. It grew reluctant and unwilling, essentially objecting to the unfairness of the situation. A dog will work for free, cheerfully. But a dog that sees another dog getting paid for the same work while it gets nothing will quietly go on strike. That is a sense of fairness. And no one taught it that. It arrived already believing, somewhere deep down, that things ought to be fair, and already able to tell when they are not. But here is the one that should genuinely give you pause, because it is not about how your dog is treated. It is about how you treat other people when you think it does not matter, because your dog is watching. In a remarkable set of studies, dogs sat and observed as their owner asked another person for help. Sometimes that person was kind and helpful to the owner, and sometimes that person was rude, refusing to help, treating the owner badly. And afterward, each of those people offered the watching dog a treat. The dogs who had seen their owner treated kindly took the treat without hesitation. But the dogs who had watched someone be rude to their owner were far more likely to refuse the treat from that person, to snub them, to turn away. Your dog was keeping track. It watched how a stranger treated the person it loves, formed a judgment about that stranger's character, and then acted on it. Which means the dog lying at your feet is not just bonded to you. It is quietly assessing the moral world around it. It notices how you speak to the people you live with, how you treat the person at the door, or on the phone, or the one who cannot do anything for you. You never taught it to care about any of that. It simply does. There is a small, silent witness in your home, taking the measure of your character every single day. And it understands something else that no one taught it, something that reveals just how deeply it reads you. It knows when you are watching. Dogs have been shown to understand your attention, to grasp, at least in a rough way, that you have a point of view, and that what you can and cannot see changes things. When a dog has been told to leave food alone, it is far more likely to obey while your eyes are on it, and far more likely to sneak that food the moment your back is turned or your eyes are closed. It is not just responding to your commands. It is tracking whether you are in a position to notice. That is the beginning of understanding that another mind sees the world differently than your own, one of the more sophisticated things a brain can do. And your dog does it without a single lesson, because reading whether the human is paying attention was always far too important to leave to chance. It reads the temperature of your whole home too, in ways no one ever showed it. You know how a dog seems to sense an argument before a single voice is raised, how it slinks off, or presses in close, or watches nervously from the doorway when the mood between two people has quietly curdled. It is not imagining it. It is reading the tightness in your shoulders, the change in your voice, the stiffness in how the people it loves are moving around each other, and assembling all of it into an accurate picture of the emotional weather in the room. It knows when the house is at peace, and when it is not, often before the humans in it have admitted anything is wrong. No one taught it to monitor the mood of your family. It simply cannot help but feel it. Then there is the quiet empathy of it, the part that ties you together below the level of thought. Have you ever yawned and watched your dog yawn right after? That is not a coincidence. Studies have found that dogs catch yawns from humans, and that they do it more from the people they are closest to. Contagious yawning is considered a small marker of an empathic connection, a sign of one mind unconsciously tuning to another, and your dog has it, aimed at you. And it goes further than a yawn. When a person begins to cry, dogs, again and again, move toward them. They will approach a crying human, even a complete stranger, and try in their clumsy, wordless way to comfort them. No one trains a dog to console a weeping person. The understanding that distress deserves an answer, and the impulse to give one, came built into it, part of the same ancient wiring that makes it lean into you on your worst days. Now, in the name of honesty, we have to correct one thing that people are sure their dogs understand, but that they almost certainly do not. Guilt. You know the famous guilty look, the lowered head, the flattened ears, the eyes sliding away, the moment you find the chewed shoe. It feels exactly like your dog understands it did something wrong and feels bad about it. But when researchers actually tested this, they found something different. That guilty look does not reliably appear because the dog misbehaved. It appears because the dog reads the anger and disappointment in you. Dogs given the exact same scolding looked just as guilty whether or not they had actually done anything at all. So the guilty look is not your dog understanding morality. It is your dog reading your mood with pinpoint accuracy and trying to soothe you, which, when you think about it, is not less impressive. It is just one more proof of the real skill underneath all of this. Not understanding right and wrong. Understanding you. So step back and look at all of it together, because a pattern appears that changes how you see the animal at your feet. Not one of these things was trained into it. You did not teach your dog fairness, or how to judge a stranger's character, or how to read your intentions, or how to know when you are watching, or how to comfort you when you cry. It came with all of it, shaped over tens of thousands of years for one single purpose: to live alongside human beings by understanding human beings. Which means the deepest things your dog knows are not the commands you are so proud of teaching it. The deepest things your dog knows are about you. And so you are being read, constantly, honestly, straight past your words, and down to your actions, and your intentions, and the way you treat the people around you. You are known more completely and more truthfully than you let almost anyone else know you. And there is something both tender and a little bit exposing in being understood that completely. Most of us go through life carefully managing what other people are allowed to see, showing our best angles, keeping the rest hidden, but there is no managing it with a dog. It does not go by the version of yourself you present. It goes by the raw data, your tone, your body, your choices, the way you are when the performance drops. Which means the creature that knows you best in the world may also be the one you have never once successfully fooled. It has the whole picture, and it stayed. So, what does your dog understand that you never taught it? Not sit, not stay. It understands fairness, and kindness, and cruelty, and intention, and attention, and sorrow, and character. It understands you, the real you, the one underneath all the words, the one that shows up in how you act when you think it does not count. It arrived in your life already fluent, in the only language that ever truly mattered between the two of you, the wordless language of who you actually are. And it has been reading you in that language, patiently, generously, without a single lesson, since the very first day it looked up into your face. That is the thing that should stay with you. The most important thing your dog knows, it was never taught. And that thing is you. It read all of it, your fairness and your flaws, your kindness and your hardest, ugliest days. And it chose you anyway. So the next time your dog looks up at you, and you feel like it can see straight through you, do not tell yourself you are imagining it. You are not. It has understood you in the deep and wordless way that matters most from the very beginning, and no one ever had to teach it how. You spent all that time teaching it to sit, and the whole while, without a word of instruction, it was learning the far harder lesson. It was learning you, and it decided, knowing exactly who you are, to stay right here at your feet for the rest of its life.